So, first, before I go into the 5 reasons I quit Swedish Snus, I want to talk about how I got addicted. When I lived in the United States, I lived in Western Pennsylvania, and it was popular to use chewing tobacco, and I did it off and on, like a couple times when I was in high school, like not really, but like a little bit. And then in college, I used it while I would study, and I found that nicotine kind of helped me study. I found that I think that's just like the ADHD kind of brain where you find stimulants that like help you, but that's where it kind of started. Then I kind of quit. I off and on maybe smoked a couple cigarettes here and there, but I wasn't addicted to nicotine. But when I came to Sweden, I saw that it was socially acceptable to use snus and that a lot of people used it. Way more socially acceptable than it was in the United States, even in Western Pennsylvania. And what I liked about snus is it didn't make a mess and you got that nicotine. So right away from the beginning, I started to use it. And then next thing I knew, I was addicted. I used snus for about 4.5 years, which is probably weird to some people being an American, not growing up with snus and finding snus. Now, before I knock snus, I just want to say that although I don't use snus now, I think it's probably one of the safest ways to get nicotine. If you look at the studies, besides a heightened risk of pancreatic cancer for men, I think they haven't shown a lot of negative consequences besides a higher blood rate and things like that. Apparently with nicotine, the harmful part with nicotine is the delivery method in a lot of ways. So like cigarettes and regular chewing tobacco are really full of carcinogens or cancer-causing materials, but apparently snus doesn't have as much. So although if you've never used any nicotine products, I would like to stress here right now, don't even start. But if you have to use something, I would say that snus is probably one of the safest ways to go. Probably even safer than e-cigarettes at this point, just simply because we don't know enough about the e-juice. So that's my spiel. So then I got on nicotine. And so the 5 reasons I quit snus. Number 1 has to simply just be because I was addicted. I hated the fact that I had to take something every day to function. And that's what it came down to. I had to use snus every day, and then your mind starts to think when you're going to run out of snus, what you need to do. And so in a weird way, this nicotine was like controlling me because I knew I was going to feel bad. I knew it was just going to be awful for me, and I just didn't like to be addicted to it, so I decided to get rid of it. Number 2, the cost. It's expensive to snus, and I used to use Granite Vit, and that was about, I think when it started out, it was like 25 crowns a can. And by the time I quit, it was 10 crowns more, 35 crowns a can. And I could spend anywhere between 500 to 800 crowns a month just on chewing tobacco. So I didn't like that I was spending money on something that really wasn't giving me any benefit that I was addicted to. Number 3 were my health goals. I just felt like, how could I work out? How could I be a fit guy, an excellent runner, and then have this nasty habit such as nicotine? When I was in my 20s, I felt like $1,000,000. I felt super healthy while I was on nicotine. Nicotine is an appetite suppressant, so it definitely kept me thinner and things like that. But I also think that when you're in your 20s, you get away with a lot of bad decisions you make as far as health decisions go. And so I was able to get away with it for a long time. But when I was 21, and this is number 4, when I was 29, I started when I was running on a treadmill one time, I started to get this weird kind of heart feeling. And it started to happen more and more, and I got really worried. And although all my heart levels were normal, I realized that, number 1, I drink a lot of coffee to begin with. That's just the way I've always been. And I was using about a can of snus a day. So I was taking in a lot of nicotine, a lot of caffeine, and I was running at a high level, like higher than it may be an average normal person. So more of a like intermediate to advanced level of speed and running and things like that. Like I would run a 5K in under 20 minutes and push it really hard, and I would get this weird feeling in my heart. And that was scary enough for me to say I needed to make a lifestyle change. That's what I mean about the health goals. Like 29, I just saw that was starting to happen. And number 5, finally, is teeth. Now, my teeth are great. I'm proud of my teeth. I always took good care of my teeth. And I can't say that snus overall was like really beating up my teeth in a bad way. But over time, yes, once I started to use daily, my gums did get irritated. And I saw people over time that had a lot of damage to their mouth. I don't think you can really see any long-term damage from me using it for 5 years. But I'm glad I finished. So this is my experience that it has been with Swedish Snus. I don't hate it. And I want to say one last thing. I haven't really bought Swedish Snus or smoked cigarettes or anything like that, and I don't crave nicotine on a daily basis anymore. I haven't used nicotine on a daily basis. I have slipped up a couple times and tried it. Not actual snus and not actual cigarettes, but I have every once in a while maybe slipped up and had like just pure nicotine in its form, like in a mint form or a gum form. Never 2 days in a row. And what I want to say is if that happens, I don't recommend it because there were plenty of times I tried to quit and I got back on it and I quit, and I got back on it, and I thought I could control it. I can't control it, but I just want to say, if you do slip up, don't beat yourself up so much. Get right back off the horse. Like, if you quit snooze, and then 4 days later you use snooze again, or cigarettes, or whatever else, don't just, like, say that that's it. Just say, okay, realize that might be part of the quitting process, and you shouldn't beat yourself up so much about that. That being said, I'm very happy I quit. It's been over a year now. I feel much better. I did put on a little bit of weight at first and had to learn different things. But all that said, I feel much better overall. And I think that it's better that it's not in my life. I don't knock it. I don't tell anyone not to do it. I don't judge. I just speak from my own experience, the benefits that I got from it. And I thought you guys might find it interesting, the fact that I'm not Swedish, but I got addicted to it when I was over here. What do you guys think about snooze? Oh, the last thing is quitting snooze is hard just because everything reminds you of snooze. The withdrawal was tough, definitely. 5 days in, I felt really, really bad, but I got through it. I had one terrible day, got through it, and then each day seemed to get better afterwards. It took me probably about 2 months to feel completely normal, but after about a week and a half, I was feeling okay. I was getting through the day, but I had to relearn everything because with snooze, you can use it constantly. So everything I enjoyed doing, I usually had a snooze in, and so it just was a constant reminder. And even to this day, there are a few times where my mind plays a trick on me and says like, you should have a snooze. So this is why you shouldn't start if you want to try and continue. You should just stay away from it, because once you're addicted, you've just created a new kind of way in your brain that you're always going to think about snooze. That's how much of an addiction it is. Is like, if you quit smoking cigarettes, for example, 40 years from now, you're still going to crave a cigarette every once in a while. And if you never try it, you just don't have that way to go. So anyways, that's my spiel. If you liked it, go ahead and smash that like button. Hit the like. If you're new to the channel, we'd love to have you subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this Darlana t-shirt. I think it's pretty sweet. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.